Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Undefeated channel and welcome back to episode 2 of The Breakdown with your host, Base the Kid and Pugilist Boy, the children of the game. We does this. How you doing,
Hey, what's
Tony?
going on? I'm good, pal. I'm good, pal. It's been an exciting weekend of boxing. The weekend's like literally started, and already boxing is again in a great place. I'm very excited to be here to be able to chop it up once again with my main man, Base the Kid. How are you,
Okay.
bro?
You know what? I'm all right. It's already been a long couple of days, but just getting ready for this has been like, yeah, I've it's driving me through. I'm like, all right, we got to talk some stuff. We got to get into the nitty gritty. So I'm all good. I'm ready to go. Without further ado, man, let's crack into the show. Say hello to the
Okay,
people,
so
people. Let them.
first things first, let's talk to the people then. Thank you very much, everybody who's in the chat. A big shout outs to Mulla, October Red, Flex 47, SWJ, Uncle Jonah, Jermaine Biz, Hot Pies, Jay Lance, Travis J, Michael O, Coley J, You Man, I Done For, Chrissy Blue 876, Osborne in the place, pop. Claudius Ignatius Alexander, yeah. So yeah, thanks very much everybody and all those jumping on as we speak.
That's up,
Without
everyone.
further delay, let's get into it because we got a lot of stuff to chop up this session.
Okay.
Once again, we had a great weekend of boxing. We had a lot of action. I shouldn't put it down as a great weekend. There weren't actually any great fights out there, but it was what I would say. It was a full weekend of boxing. You would have got your fill because there was boxing coming at you from all different angles. Pro Bellum had a card. Matchroom had a card. You know, everybody had a card this weekend, and we're going to chop
No,
up
it
the
weren't
best of
Matchroom.
the
It was Golden Boy. Golden Boy had a card.
Golden Boy,
Golden Boy
sorry,
and
yeah,
Top Rank.
sorry. That's right. Yeah, it was Golden Boy on the zone. So where should we start off with? The weekend action should officially have been all about Michael McKenzie against Virgil
Virgil Ortiz.
Ortiz. Unfortunately, Virgil Ortiz, as we spoke about last week, pulled out. Lastminute.com. He was replaced by Alex Martin. That fight turned out to be very much a nothing fight. A 10-round unanimous decision for
McKenzie.
Michael McKenzie. Obviously, he's on the DAZN network. He's in America fighting in Los Angeles at the Gallen Center. And quite simply, I don't know what the reaction would be to him following that fight. I've so far seen very little reaction from any of the American pundits. What about yourself, Pace? Have you heard or seen anything?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I've heard pretty much the same as you. The only saving grace he's got at this moment is the fact that Alexis Rocha wants to fight him. He said he wants to fight him next, either him or Conor Ben. So McKenzie can go back out there and get that work and hopefully put on a better performance against an orthodox fighter because he clearly doesn't fight a lot of southpaws.
Yeah, so the main fight of that card ended up being what was originally meant to be the co-main, which was Alexis Rocha against Blair the Flair Cobbs.
My
Now,
guy.
this fight on paper didn't really excite me, but it ended up having some history on it going into the fight. Blair Cobbs is without doubt a character in the game. And his approach in the press conference, in the weigh-in, was to come in and be braggadocious. And he had this, this woo, like Ric Flair kind of moniker that he kept repeating and saying how he's the best thing in boxing since sliced bread. And the superlatives just kept coming out of his mouth. So it actually made quite an interesting fight. For me, wasn't a great fight, but it was interesting.
It was
Two
entertaining,
southpaws.
man. Come on, don't sell it short. The fight was entertaining. It was
It
action
was
packed.
it was entertaining while it lasted, but I'm gonna be breaking it down the way I break down fights. This was a
That's
fight that when I wrote down the pluses and the minuses, the pluses for Alexis Rocha are many, the minuses for Blair Cobbs were many. First and foremost, for me, I'm just going to break it down. I thought Alexis Sanchez couldn't miss with the jab. 2 southpaws, how the hell does Blair Cobb not miss a jab? Literally, he can't get his head out of the way of the jab. Blair Cobbs, through the whole fight, fought on the back foot. He occasionally got success, and, fair play with him. He throws a lot of punches, but he's got absolutely no defense. Alexis Rocha was able to hit him at will. Alexis Rocha, the third thing that I'm going to say, which is going to be very impressive, is the combination punching. His combinations were non-stop. He never threw single shots. That makes him, for any fighter, a sure problem.
Well, look, let me jump in there real quick. All right, so yeah, like obviously Alexis is the more seasoned of the two of them. Like let's also remember, like Blair Cobbs, no amateur background, so basically he's one of those learning on the jobs type guys. 15 fights. Obviously, he's a person as a southpaw has pretty much done all of his work only fighting orthodox fighters. So him coming in with another southpaw obviously is something that's a lot different to what he's particularly used to. So to me, I feel like he couldn't really get out of the way of that southpaw stance. That's because it's something that he's very rarely dealt with, and because he hasn't had a lot of experience with that style, his best defense was the movement and was the fact that he had good lateral movement and pretty decent head movement. Because if you got to be real, for the amount of shots that Alexis Roach actually threw at him, there's not that many that landed clean until sort of maybe the 5th round, and then a bit later on towards the 8th and the 9th. A lot of it was just because the hair was flapping all over the place, made you think he was getting hit hard with things that he wasn't really getting hit with. Like, that's one fight I did watch twice over the weekend. Now, to be honest, I think he did well for his level. He's not on that level yet, but there's definitely a chance that he can improve. Like I said, he's got the good head movement. He's got the warrior spirit. He's always seems to be kind of cognizant of what's going on. He's evasive. So all of that stuff, once you refine the actual proper fundamentals that he doesn't have, I feel like he can get himself to a good B+ level and have some better entertaining fight. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to watch him again after the
So without further delay, I'm going to make this a little bit clearer for the viewers. I'm going to bring in a small clip from that fight, which will let you see the level to which Blair Cobb's defense was non-existent, and the fact that Rocha was able to tee off on his head with beautiful combinations. Here we go. So,
dude, how many from that angle? You can even see from that angle how many of those he actually slipped and rolled under. There's not all of those hit. If you look on the actual broadcast, right, on the actual proper broadcast, they showed it slowed down. Several of those he managed to get the gloves up. He managed to roll. Yes, he got hit with some of them, definitely, but he's got better evasiveness than what it looks like there. Again, a lot of it is because of the hair. Take the hair out of the way, and it looks a whole different fight.
So I'm just gonna have to agree to disagree with you, because that whole fight looked like it was a disaster for Blair Cobbs. Now, the other thing I want to mention, Blair Cobbs is corner man is Freddie Roach.
Mm-hmm.
And at no point in the fight did my man change a single thing about his game. At no point did Freddie go, oh, get on the front foot, push him back, be elusive, keep your hands up. It literally was, come out, do the same thing. Come out, do the same thing. From round 1, Rocha's jab was just eating into his face. I'm like, what the hell? Freddie Roach, world-class trainer, and you got your man taking licks every round. In round 8, I didn't get the clip, but he gets knocked down by a peach of an uppercut. And it's in a combination of maybe, in fact, I have it on record. He at one point threw a 13-punch combination. Yeah.
So how are you gonna have a 13-punch combination and not a majority of them land? Like, of course that's gonna happen.
Of course. So that's why I like the Alexis Rocha show, because at the end of the day, he showed you how to overcome a guy like that who's a pick hitter. He's picking shots here and there, and yes, he's getting the odd nice shot. But let's be honest, this fight was a one-way show for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I just feel like the narrative is a little bit unfair to Blair. I feel like I said, certain parts of it look worse than it was just because of how his aesthetics are. But if he changed certain little things, it would have looked a lot more competitive, because he wasn't being like dominated from round 1 to round 9. It was a fairly competitive fight. Yes, like Rocha was commanding. He was basically maneuvering Blair to where he wanted him to be, but ultimately, like, Blair was still competitive. He did hit him with some good shots. And if you look at their faces at the end of the fight, I know that doesn't always tell the tale, but Rocha's face had more damage on it than Blair's did. So clearly someone was getting, so he was clearly getting some work off.
Yeah. Okay, so that kind of summed up that fight. The fight was stopped in the 9th, as we saw. He did get knocked down in the 8th, as I said, with a beautiful uppercut. He was stopped on his feet, but Freddie Roach has got some job to do if he's going to rekindle that flame, from my point of view.
I agree.
But as you mentioned, Alexis Rocha now looking at McKenzie, now looking at Nigel Benn, and any of that range of welterweights. Interestingly, Alexis Rocha's one defeat is to Rashidi Ellis. And that's Ellis's last fight in 2020. And you're like, where is Rashidi Ellis?
Yeah. I haven't seen him. I mean, he's like Golden Boy's forgotten child. He's Golden Boy's forgotten child. You know, they park certain fighters that look like Rashidi Ellis, and that's just how it is. We don't really need to get into those politics today. But he's a talent that deserves more than what he gets. But he's another one. He's kind of like the McKenzie of that like banner and promotion, whereby he's good, but he's not really marketable because he doesn't deliver what they want, kind of thing. So they don't really know how to promote him. So they don't, they only put him out when they have to. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a shame, like, because Speedy's definitely a good operator. He deserves a lot more respect than he's getting.
Okay. Also on that card, was it that card that had Ramla Ali on it?
Yeah.
It was. Okay, so let's get the clip up. I've got that. Your boy comes with the game. Little clip of Ramla. We'll get that again because it was so short. Oh. But this was her first knockout, her first stoppage.
5-0, 1 KO. From that clip there, obviously it's from a blind angle, so it's hard to see, but it looks like it was the right hook that caught her before, and then the left one has sort of helped her on her way. But that's a good one because obviously that lady's never been stopped before in any of the fights, so that's a good statement for Ramla. And obviously she's a Canadian, that the woman she was fighting. What's that? Isn't her name Grace or something like that? Something Grace.
God. No,
sorry,
Shelly Barnett.
Is it Shelly Barnett? Okay, yeah. Like, I know that she never been stopped. Like, them Canadians are normally quite durable, so that in itself is a statement. The fact that she got that. What round was it? Was it round? Did it say 2. What round it was?
Round
second
2.
round.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ramla Ali, she's been working with Manny Robles, so he's a good combination trainer. And he's definitely probably getting her to dig her toes into the ground a bit more than what she was doing, transitioning from that amateur-based point system to looking for those power shots. And you could see it from even the way she was throwing those shots. She wasn't like bouncing when she did, like she was planted into the ground, trying to drive as much power as she could from her legs. So
yeah. So good performance from Ramla. She moves up to 5-0. That's the best highlights we can give you from the Los Angeles card. We move across America from West Coast to East Coast to Madison Square Garden, where the headline act was Edgar Berlanga. He was fighting Steve Rose. Now, I don't have any footage of that one, but you saw that? Did you see that fight?
yeah, I watched that fight.
We both talked a little bit about that fight because we kind of saw Rose as a potential banana skin for Berlanga.
Yeah, definitely. Like the thing about Rose, number one, he's got good movement. He's got a good educated jab. He stabs to the body well, and he stands very side on. So if you're trying to hit him with straight shots, he's able to evade a lot of the straight shots because of how sort of compact he stands and stays side. Like it's almost like fully side on. So there's very little of his body to target unless you're like a hook genius on the inside. And he didn't give Berlanga like any opportunities to be able to set up and plant his feet for that one straight right hand that he's looking for. Like Berlanga has since obviously he got knockout happy, he's stopped like trying to set shots up. He stopped trying to just let the shots flow. He stopped trying to, jab, hit hooks, hit uppercuts. Like he's literally just looking for that boom right hand. And Rose was able to nullify and avoid it for the majority of the fight. He was, like I said, he was getting off good body work. He was landing some good shots of his own. And if he was the home fighter, then there's definitely would have been an argument to say that he could have got at least 5 of those rounds. Like when I scored it, I mean, I didn't score it like properly, but it looked as if it was a 5-5. So, or possibly even like I wouldn't have argued if someone gave it to roll 6-4, because he was definitely a nightmare for. And even Berlanga at the end interview was basically saying, "Oh, okay, he ran. Okay, so now I've just got to train for people to just run and move, because so that tells you that he doesn't have a plan B. If someone doesn't stand right in front of him, he's got no plan B to fight them, which is a problem, especially if you're trained by Andre Rosier. So
I pretty much saw the fight very similar to yourself. Berlanga, you could see he was looking for that big shot because he was cocking the right hand, and it was like because Rose was moving to his left, it was like, oh, the punch ain't there, so I can't throw it. Whereas previously he would have just thrown it, And if he'd, caught elbows or he'd caught shoulders, it would have been catching him. But he was looking for that perfect shot to the chin, thinking that Rose would open up. But Rose was tight, kept his guard tight, and as a result, Berlanga was looking all night long but couldn't see it. And Rose just kept working him, So it was one of them fights. And again, I refer back to my colleagues across the water. Obviously, I keep my eye on the pundits and see what they think of the fight. I like to see how people score the fight immediately after it. And it was interesting that quite a number of people actually saw Rose as a winner of the fight.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I definitely wouldn't have argued that if that was what the scorecards read at the end of it, the official ones, I would have been like, boy, that's the game, because he did enough.
Yeah. It was a difficult fight to judge because there were a lot of swing rounds. Because some of those rounds were the type where Rose does most of the punching, but Berlanga has the more flashy shots. So when he rocks the guy, you kind of go, ooh, and you that can sway a crowd. The crowd make a lot of noise, which in the back of my head makes me think about something somebody said about judges around crowds, which are, very vocal for one fighter over another. But we'll come up to that in another show. But it was an interesting fight, and as I said, Berlanga got the decision, but it could have been scored either way with a few swing rounds. And you know, look, Steve Rolls certainly didn't disgrace himself, and I think we'll be seeing more of him in the future.
Me too.
Okay, so on the same card, we saw the Wonder Kid, Xander Zayas. Did you see that?
Unfortunately, I didn't see the fight. I've been meaning to, but time got away from me. However, I have seen the end of the fight. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so let me show you some of the action. The 19-year-old Wonder Kid, Xander Zayas.
Uppercut rings in. Left hook rings in. Xander Zayas. Headshot after headshot. Left hook again. Look at this series as he nearly puts him through the ropes. And Lavallee stands up to it, son. Uppercut rings in. Left hook rings in. Xander Zayas. Headshot after headshot. Left hook again. Look at this series as he nearly puts him through the ropes. And Lavallee stands up to it, son.
So yeah, Xander Zayas impresses again. You know, he moves from 12-0 up to 13-0. Fought a very tough kid in Lavallee. But the kid is special. 19 years old. You could see, you know, he's got great combination. His footwork looks good. You know, he's got power, you know, at such a young, tender age. You know, his body hasn't matured out properly yet, but he looks impressive. What's your thoughts?
I mean, one thing I'll say, like, based on that particular clip, because I didn't see the whole fight, but based on that clip, the movement is good. He's got great movement. He's fluid with what he's doing, but he landed a lot of clean shots there, and the guy didn't go down. Now, in that particular, if we're talking about flurries, he landed more shots in his flurries there than what Rocha did against Cobbs earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, people would probably say that Cobbs got beat worse, but that looked like it would. But I was concerned that of all those clean shots he was actually landing, like not one of them took the guy to even take a knee. So I'm assuming he grounded him down a bit further, like in the afterwards. But I would say maybe that power, as you said, because he's still filling into his body, he hasn't probably got that full strength yet. So that might be something he has to work on or think about when he's getting up the levels, because you can't just be unloading on people without, you know, thinking about what's going to come back, especially if you don't have the one hitter quitter or the super heavy hands.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He definitely is growing into this weight category. He's building his weight nicely, you know. But the game is there. You know, he looks like he's got all the necessary assets to become a superstar in the sport. So it'll be interesting to see him develop further along the line. It ended up as an 8-round decision. It was his first 8-rounder. But yeah, the kid looked nice. The kid looks nice. I can think of nothing else to say on that one, but you know, we will be looking out for more of him in time to come.
Most definitely.
We've got a super chat from Ash. Thank you very much, Ash. And it says Laron would do horrible things to Berlanga.
I agree.
Ooh, yeah,
I agree. It would just be a schooling for over 12 rounds.
Hot Pie says Voldemort won on points as per usual.
Yeah, aka Capri Sun.
Yeah. Okay. Off the canvas, talking about Xander says, for his young age, he has a lot to learn, but it's promising.
Most definitely.
Obbs has said one thing is maybe lacking a little bit of pop, but maybe that'll come.
Yeah, he's still growing into his body, so I agree with Obbs on that. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Travis say, how is that kid 19?
He's a special one, Trav.
That's right. That's right. So we move from the 2 cards in the United States and we run across the waters to Dubai.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, as I said to you the other day, I didn't watch any of this card at all. I wanted to watch the Prograis fight, but I didn't have the chance to because I was busy. So everything on this card, I'm going to have to just defer to you, and I'll slip in with any previous knowledge that I may have had of any fighters. But go for it.
No problem, no problem. So the headline act for this fight was Sonny Edwards against Wasim. We're not going to spend too long on that one, but basically, Sonny Edwards made this fight more difficult than he needed to. He basically thought he could just outwork this kid, but this kid came to work, and Sonny Edwards ended up getting a bit of a tonking himself. He wasn't his usual elusive self. It was like, I'm willing to take a pop from this guy because I'm going to keep popping in with my own. And it didn't quite work out. So this ended up being an ugly fight for Sonny Edwards. He ended up, with quite a few bruises on his face. The opponent looked worse, to be honest, but it was no pretty fight for either of them because there was a lot of head clashes. There was a lot of infighting where the faces were rubbing against one another, and both ended up with quite severe facial damage. In the post-fight interview, Sonny Edwards said he was trying to find the big shot, but let's be honest, Sonny Edwards ain't got that shot.
The Capri Sun ain't got that juice, no? Juice is sour. Makes sense.
Nah, he ain't got that shot. So whereas he has natural gifts as a boxer to be able to box on the retreat, pick his shots, pick and move, slip and counter, he was showing none of that. He actually just took this guy as, fodder, and it didn't work. So Sonny really didn't endear himself with that performance. On the, let's see what it says. Sonny Edwards jabbed Wasim's facing. Yeah, he did, but he also took quite a lot of a beating himself. Coley J says, Sonny Edwards is a class act. Steve Coppin says what most of us around the campfire say. Off the canvas. So the man who should remain nameless to other members of the undefeated pod. We shall move on to Progress.
Good move.
Regis. And you didn't get shot. So once again, I brought to the table a little bit of that. Here we go. Let's see that again because that was sweet.
I mean, it's a bit of a mismatch, to be honest, but hey, is what it is.
Is what it is. Is what it is. Look, Regis took this one. He's been waiting for a long time to get out. He's been chomping at the bit, and you could tell. He came out and he just looked like a $6 million kid. I mean, he was firing at McKenna from the get-go, and his work looked sharp. He had a beautiful jab. He was stepping in. He was posing. He was showing the shot, stopping it halfway, watching what the guy was going to do, and then throwing the rest of the shot. It was just like, whoa, Regis is in the zone. So okay. I was very impressed with Regis, but I like the guy anyway. I think he's a great boxer. Again, he's one of these fighters who, for whatever political reason, he's not getting the fights that he deserves. Following the Josh Taylor close decision, this kid should still be a superstar in the sport.
Well, speaking of that, I saw earlier on today. Now, I'm not sure if it's 100% confirmed, but Regis should be fighting Jose Zapada next for, I think it's the WBC interim title or the possible vacated title that's about to become vacant. But yeah, that's what I saw on Twitter earlier
Okay.
on. Regis against
So
Zapada, which will be
so
an
Danny has
amazing.
put that he hopefully would love to see progress against Jose Ramirez. Again, that would be a
Another good
great
fight.
fight.
Yeah.
That would be a great fight. So yeah, Regis has got all the attributes to be a great star. And obviously he's done the work. He's got the resume. So it would be great to see him elevated and get some good work. Osborne says progress looks good, but his head movement was lacking for me. He also seemed to be in first gear. He performed a lot better than that Scottish.
Tornado, is that? Or Tall? Oh, Scottish Tall.
Okay. What's this Ash saying? Regis beating up the 50th best super lightweight on Voldemort's undercard in front of 10 people. It's what it is. As I said, this is a kid that should be in big fights. He should be mixing it with the best of the best in that division.
I hope the next one is a big fight, because that's the rumor.
He deserves it. He deserves it. So, where we at? That really was most of the good action from this weekend. I'm thinking that I'm missing something from the UK. Who was on the UK?
No, I think that was it. I don't think there was any UK cards, unless Frank had one, but I don't think so.
I'll double check. I think that was it. Oh, there's an interesting matchup. Regis against Jack Catterall.
Again, I don't want to see that much too many Southpaw versus Southpaw fights. Like, let's keep it the right way. Southpaw versus Orthodox.
Yeah. Thank you, Osborne. Osborne catching me right. I'm missing the David Avanesian fight.
Oh, well, who can blame you? It was like, what, 2 rounds? It wasn't worth talking about, really.
I mean, I ain't joking you, but that card was woeful. That card was awful. So the less said about that, the better. But yeah, Avanesian got a 2-round blowout. The guy he fought was, Mets. I mean, I heard today Eddie having a go at Frank Warren and saying, why would you put Avanesian? He's always complaining about Frank matching this fighter and that fight, but Eddie, was just saying Frank's matchmaking, some of it is woeful, and that was an example of,
yeah. I mean, we can move on. There's nothing to say about it. I don't think either of us watched that card, so what's the point?
Yep, that's the truth. That's the truth. Hot Pies, unfortunately, bro, I can't give you nothing on the Thor versus Eddie matchup. I don't get involved in them celebrity matchups. I'm sorry, not my bag.
Normally that's my bag, but I didn't see that one. Still, I saw some highlights, but that's all I needed to see.
Thanks for the shout out, North Bank Bren. Big
Man
up
like
the
Brendan
in the house. Yeah, so what else can we talk? Yeah, so that really wraps up last week's action. So let's get into this week's action coming up.
Yeah, this is what you've been dying for. Let's go.
Woo!
All right.
Woo! I'm excited. All right. I'm going to say this card looks exciting to me. There's some good fighters on this card. I don't know who's going to this fight in Wembley this weekend, but this looks like a decent night of entertainment. Not least because the headline fight looks like a decent 50-50. How do you see that fight?
Well, if that fight had happened 3 years ago, Juma cakewalks it. At this point, I mean, Riakpor's definitely gotten better, a little bit. He's a little bit more technical and he's a little bit more relaxed. Before he was very nervous in the ring, like everything was about literally keeping the guy away from me, like just getting them off me. You could see it in his face. He was very apprehensive to to get hit, to throw his shots in case. And anytime anyone got into his space, he panicked. But he seemed a lot more controlled recently. Juma obviously has had a lot of inactivity with the several eye surgeries that he's had, and also other injuries that he's been holding. But it's that crafty southpaw that he's a boxer. He's like a pure boxer that actually doubles as like a boxer puncher. Like he's got enough pop in there to make you not want to try and just walk him down. Like you can't, even if he's a pure boxer, you can't give him the pressure fighter treatment because he's got enough to make you feel like, okay, that's not really gonna work. But he's got the movement. He's definitely cunning, and he's got a very good boxing brain. Like he knows how to set up his own. He knows how to set his traps to get you into where he wants you to be, so that he can offload. The difference, the big problem in this one might be the fact that because Riakpo is a little bit taller than him, maybe some of the tactics that he used to employ, they may not work the same way. So he might employ more of a crouching style to sort of get in and around the long levers of Riakpo. But it will be interesting to see sort of how Riakpo does deal with a style that he's not faced that often. But if I'm gonna be real, even with the timeout, I still think that Juma's got this. If I'm gonna be totally honest, I think Juma take this fight on points, provided it's a good enough performance. Because obviously, if it's close, it's gonna be Riakpo because he is the he's the marquee fighter. He will get the consideration in the closest rounds. But I feel like Juma does get this on either like a majority or a split decision.
Yeah. So I'm going to agree with you. Because I look at Riakpo's last couple of fights and he seems too immobile. He's like a Frank Bruno. He's like the Joe Joyce of the lower of the cruiserweight division. Slow, ponderous feet. He's got big punch, but his speed of hands and his movement do not make him elusive. For any fighter who's got decent boxing capabilities, Dion Juma is that guy in terms of he's got good boxing brain. He moves well around the ring. He's going to bring the heat. He will have looked at Riakpo's performances, and I'm pretty certain, if I'm in his corner, I know, you go in there and you smother his work. So I expect this to not be an easy fight for Juma, but I'm gonna go with him to win this one. Is it points or late stoppage?
Oh, you want to go for the stoppage? You're being brazy tonight.
Yeah. You know what it is. I don't think Riakpo's really had this. Has had the kind of heat that Juma's about to bring to him. So I'm gonna go with the decision, but don't be surprised if there's a late stoppage.
Well, you know what? One thing I will say, actually, if we talk about obviously the amount of inactivity that Juma's had, we got to remember Riakpo. Okay, he's had 2 fights in the last 4 months, but he was out of the ring for a good 2+ years as well. So yeah, both of them have had the same level of fights in the last year to point. So they're both kind of on an even playing field. So maybe it makes sense. So maybe it is the best of both.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments in the chat, and we do seem to have a bit of a split of opinion. Got Ash saying Riakpo has no gears. Boxing P for pound Jack says Riakpo by late stoppage for him.
Where's October? Is she coming in?
October. Where are you, October? No, we haven't got a comment from October. I will get to your super chat, Ash, in a second. I just want to wrap up this one. Ash says, if Juma was active, I'd back him to school Riakpo. He also says, I've never rated Riakpo, only throws a right hand and holds a lot when he's tired. Pound for pound, Jack asks, who is Voldemort? That would be Frank Warren, my friend.
Son. Yeah, that's Capri's son.
My mate's on this card, Jamie TKV, heavyweight boxer. Okay, Joe.
Oh yeah, the guy with the plaits.
Oh yeah. A Obs has said Juma might have to come off the floor to win.
Okay, interesting.
And North Bank Bren says Juma's inactivity is what brings the most question marks. So clearly, a lot of people are able to see that Juma does bring, good credentials into this fight, and this could go either way. So this is going to be an interesting fight. I'm sure a lot of you guys will be watching this one with very interesting opinions on how this goes. So it'll probably be one of the highlight fights that we hopefully will see being broken down next week.
Here's a question. Before you carry on, here's a question.
Yeah.
Which card are we watching live, and which one are we watching on the replay? Or do we do that right at the end of the show?
I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to be watching all of the Wembley undercard, but if Riakpo and Warrington come out at exactly the same time, I'm probably going to switch to Warrington.
Okay.
But the undercard for me is all Wembley. I've got lots of people there that I'm fairly interested to see in action, and I think the caliber of undercard fighters is somewhat better. Let's talk about some of those guys. We've also got Dan Aziz.
Man, like Super Dan.
So we got Dan Aziz fighting Tinker. Caroline Dubois.
Has she got an opponent yet?
I do believe she does. Let me tell you who it is. It's not on here. Shannon Ryan is fighting. Do you know much about Shannon Ryan?
Making her debut. I don't know a huge deal about her, but I know she comes from kickboxing background. I think she also did it was kickboxing or something else like karate or like a judo type thing. But she comes from other backgrounds. She's transitioned into boxing, but she did that other stuff as more of an amateur, but she's come straight into boxing as more of a pro from the limited information I've been able to find out about her. But I have started following her on a couple of socials, so I need to do some Googles because she's going to be in one of the upcoming videos of the Femme Files, so that will be sorted. But that's the information I've got on her so far, and the fact she's signed to 258. So clearly they're going to be looking to push her, whether that's all to do with her skills in the ring or maybe just the aesthetics. I don't know, but I hope that both match up correctly.
Okay. So, moving up the country, we get to Leeds and the rematch of Kiko Martinez, the current world champion, fighting for the second time against Josh Warrington. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, if we look at the first fight, many people say that Warrington was lucky to get away with the victory in the first one. Now, we seem to have a very reinvigorated Kiko who is fully believing in his source, for lack of a better phrase. And I feel as if, based on what he'd done with Thanks, Ash. Taekwondo. Yeah, it was one of them. I knew it was one of them. Yeah, based on his sort of his newfound invigoration, plus the fact I think he's actually fought as heavy as 135. Warrington hasn't been up there, so Kiko can take a lot more power than what Warrington can give out. And Warrington doesn't have the greatest of pop. He's got decent work rate, but I feel as if Kiko is going to basically stalk him and try and break him down. And obviously, after what happened with Lara, I wouldn't be surprised if Warrington's armor is dented now, and he's probably susceptible to getting hit with a couple of similar shots to what Galahad got hit with. And I can see Kiko Martinez winning this fight by stoppage.
So, my feelings are, again, not too dissimilar, but the reason I'm going to say Kiko Martinez is going to win this fight is because I think Warrington's been to the tank too many times. I honestly think in the last 2 fights, I've drained him. And I question how much is left. How much has he got left to come out and fight a resurgent Kiko Martinez? You know, he's never had pop. You know, he's not a knockout artist. He's simply a ferocious, non-stop work machine that's, you know, managed to succeed based on his work rate. The last 2 fights have shown that when the work rate isn't there, he doesn't really have a great deal of other skills that can get him out of trouble. You know, if you outwork him, if you outskill him, he's very limited. This one just smells of I think a potential rip off on the cards if it goes a distance. Yeah, unfortunately, we've seen it before in the last however many weeks.
I think Kiko knows that, which is why I don't think he's going there to try. I think he's going there knowing that the knockout is is the only way he keeps that belt, personally. So I think he's prepared for that.
Yeah, so I think, you know, I think Kiko wins, but something tells me Warrington gets a decision in his own back garden.
So Kiko wins. He just wins unofficially, basically. Is what you reckon? Okay,
that's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I might have to put some money on him then.
Yeah. Off the canvases said Josh's other skills is called headbutt accuracy.
That's fair.
Michael O, Kiko didn't look good against Galahad. He was losing practically every round until he caught Kid Galahad.
But Galahad's a much better boxer than Warrington.
Warrington, yeah.
And Kiko knows that he can take heavy shots, whereas like Warrington maybe can't now.
Yeah. Ashley said Eddie is praying for a Wood Warrington matchup
at City Road.
Yeah, that would be a dream for Eddie. Off the Kansas says, is Kiko washed based on the Kid Galahad fight where he got knocked down a few times, if I recall?
Kiko never got knocked down in that fight.
No, I don't remember that.
He got pieced up a bit. He never got knocked down.
Yeah, Warrington will look for the points win and Kiko will win and make some good money. Let me go back to the super chat. Oh, no. Where is it? Oh, no. Ash, and that was Ash that I put the super chat in.
Just get him to write it in the comments now. And we'll do that.
Ash, write that super chat in the comments for me. I think it was something along the lines of who do we see as... And thank you very much for the super chat, by the way. I think his question was, who do we see as the top prospect in the UK? And I remember him saying that for him, it was Dalton Smith.
Hmm. I wouldn't disagree in terms of. I mean, yeah, in the guys we could say that. I personally think that if we're talking about actual prospects and like newcomers, I think Caroline Dubois got a lot of the tools to do very well. I know he probably wasn't thinking the women, but I'm gonna throw her name in there because I feel like she needs her praise. Um, but yeah, Dalton Smith's a very good one. I would definitely give it to him. I'm actually I quite like, I don't know why, but I quite like Hopey Price as well. There's something about Hopey Price. I feel like he's got the necessary tools to go quite far as well, and he's got good dimensions for the current weight division he's in. He can definitely grow into another couple, and probably max out maybe 2 weight classes above where he is now, maybe even 3. But I think he's got some good fundamentals on him as well.
What the fuck is that? Okay, Cody J says, what about Ebony Bridges? Are we rating her? She's fighting this weekend on that Leeds undercard.
Yeah, I think to be honest, Cecilia Roman is actually a very, very dangerous fight, and that could definitely be another Erica Farias moment. Ebony doesn't have. She's like a bit of a pressure fighter with a bob and weave style, but she doesn't do well against people that can move with her, that don't just literally sit there. Obviously, Roman, yeah, she's got that whole sort of almost Mexican thing about her that Ebony tries to trade off of. But yeah, I can see Roman beating her, to be honest. Unless it's a screw job, I don't really see what Ebony's got for her, if I'm gonna be totally honest. Like, she hasn't really shown herself to excel at the domestic level in the UK yet, let alone on the world scene. And Cecilia Roman she's levels above. She's fought much better opposition, and she's a seasoned vet. I don't see Ebony winning that fight.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of conflicted as to who my favorite fighter right now is. I might have to come back to you next week. Hope Price definitely is up there though, without a doubt. MRS says John Hedges is looking hopeful.
Nah, I don't know. He's in the wrong weight division.
Adam Aziz. Azim,
I haven't seen much of him yet. Like, not on the professional side to proper. He looks like he could be a talent, but we just don't know yet.
Galal Yafai.
Yeah, but it's hard to call him a prospect when he's literally just won a title in his first fight as a pro. So I feel like he's probably fringe contender status already. I don't even know if you call him a prospect. He's kind of just fringe. Yeah, Anthony's trolling. It's all good.
Okay, I don't know how.
Well, if that's true, that's a very interesting choice.
Osborne says he likes Dante Dixon. That's the guy I like. Dante.
I like
Dixon.
Dante.
Yes.
He doesn't seem like he's got enough
operator.
Yeah, but I feel like the pop's lacking. I feel like he's got that Billy Joe Saunders curse where like he doesn't really have enough of the pop to. And Zach Parker can't call a prospect because he's currently in sort of contender status. So
yeah,
but I don't know about him.
Yeah. So on the undercard of Martinez Warrington, Hughes versus Walsh, you got any thoughts on that fight?
To be honest, I think that's a easy fight for Maxi Hughes. Well, okay, maybe not easy in the sense that he's gonna have absolutely no opposition whatsoever, but I just feel like that's Maxi Hughes's fight to win, to look good in, because that's all of advertisement to basically get a Haney or a Cambosis or some a bigger fight in that 135 division. So yeah, as I see that being quite comfortable for Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, his record's not the greatest. It's not like he's tearing up trees in that division. Ryan Walsh is gonna. I think this is a 50-50 for me. I think it's just a matter of who wants it most. Yeah, Maxi Hughes is, he's lost 5. He's been KO'd twice. He's drawn twice. He's not tearing up trees. Ryan Walsh is 27-3-2. So between them, they're good. They're good boxers, with the chance of a good tear up. But neither of them, for me, is taking us to the next level.
What else we got to talk about? Anything else?
Boy, there's so much we could talk about.
No, let's just stick to the script. We've got loads of content for other shows.
Yeah, we do.
What else is on there?
I think we should call it a wrap there. I think because there has been so much action that we've discussed, as you said, we definitely have loads of other stuff that is coming out daily. The obvious one being the announcement of Craig Richards versus Joshua Buatsi. That kind of needs a show on its own. I think when we come with that one, we're going to bring some footage and really disseminate that one big time. As you and I both said publicly, we're both likely to be in the arena for that fight. I definitely want to be there. You definitely want to be there. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be a contingent that will be heading down to, and I hear today it's going to be the O2. So hopefully, yeah, we'll have a proper deep dive on that one in time to come. But,
so they cleared out the comedian then. There was a comedian supposed to be playing on that date and the O2. So they cleared that out.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Now, from what I've been told, the O2's out of the question because it's booked up with pre-COVID stuff.
Okay.
I've heard about London Olympia, Kensington, like 2 Southman fighting in West, don't really sit right. Copper Box, 2 Southman fighting in East. Don't know about that one. Like I said earlier on today, and I said it in my video yesterday. To me, that fight has to be either O2 or it has to be at Selhurst Park. It has to be in that kind of. It has to be in South. So however they make it work, like put it in South London, or even you know what, the what's it called, O2 Academy. Like figure out a way to get a ring in the center of the academy.
Jeez, look at this guy.
I can see that.
Oh, mate. So, guys, we have come to the end of our show. As I said, we'll get into that deep dive, that one, in weeks to come. But as I said, we've got a couple of nice cards this weekend to look forward to. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Expect more, as I said, action this week. Look out for the Undefeated Red news with October Red. That's coming out on the pod on a regular basis now. As you know, there's so much stuff coming out of the world of boxing. We haven't even laid into stuff like Charlo, the Usyk talk, the Devin Haney, Kambosos stuff that's coming out. There's just so much, but another time. But guys, thank you very much. Have a great week and a weekend, and we'll catch you again next Monday on the Monday Night Smoke Show, and of course back on our own breakdown next week, Tuesday.
That's right.
Last words,
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We're out as again. Like shout me on the Basic Kid Hardcore Casual videos. They're actually moving some nice numbers right about now. So thanks for everyone who's been tuning in. Keep liking, keep sharing those. Gonna like I said, I got an episode of the Femme Files coming tomorrow afternoon. For anyone who wants to know a bit about a couple women, I'm not gonna tell you which women I'm gonna be talking about, so you'll have to watch that to find out. Other than that, you know, normal things. Instagram based the kid, Twitter based the kid, and yeah. Salute and thank everyone for tuning in. And Tony, sign us up.
Take care, guys. Have a great time. Bye for now.